DJ Tolets Remix.
Sayaw ta, lumit sila!
What's up mga kaakbay? Kayo po ay nanonood ng Seto Garcia Vlogs! Yay! If you have not subscribed to this channel, just click the bell button. Good day everyone, I am Aniceto Garcia from Baybay National High School, Baybay City Division. My action research is entitled Playing Wordscapes to Improve the Spelling Skill of Grade 10 Students During COVID-19 Pandemic. Spelling, according to Merriam-Webster's Dictionary in 2020, is the ability to form letters together in a conventionally accepted order and usage in order to form words. In Baybay National High School, it was observed by the researcher that most of the grade 10 students are having difficulty in spelling. In fact, in a random spelling test conducted, it was found out that the mean percentage score of the students in the 6 sections, or a total of 183 students, is only 42.17%, which is far below the 75% acceptable or passing score. According to Google Play in 2016, playing games such as puzzles stimulate the brain and test a person's ingenuity. McComish in 2008 also added that Wordscapes provides a fun space so that students' word skills and social skills will be reinforced. This is the main reason why the researcher wanted to study the effectivity of playing wordscapes in improving the spelling skills of the students. This study focused on determining the usefulness of playing wordscapes when improving the spelling skill of grade 10 students during COVID-19 pandemic. Specifically, this study aimed to answer the following questions. 1. What are the mean scores of the students in Group A, or experimental group, and Group B, or control group, before the intervention? 2. What are the mean scores of the students in Group A and Group B after the Group A, or the experimental group, was exposed to playing wordscapes? Number 3. Is there a significant difference between the pre-test and post-test scores of the respondents in Group A and Group B? And number 4. Is there a significant difference between the scores of Group A and Group B after the intervention? For the research design, the study followed the pre-test, post-test approach to a quasi-experimental research design. Quasi-experimental research design was used because the respondents were purposefully assigned and not random. We have to take note that the Group A, or the experimental group, was subjected to the intervention or the playing of wordscapes, while Group B, or the control group, was not. The participants of this study were the students coming from the 2 grade 10 sections who were purposefully chosen in order to facilitate easy access and monitoring during the conduct of the study. So for the data gathering method, prior to the conduct of the study, the approval of the school's division superintendent as well as the school principal of Baybay National High School were sought, as well as the parents, that of the parents of the respondents, because there is a need for us to ask permission from the parents. And there were no physical meetings before, during, and after the conduct of the study. This is to ensure that we are following the safety and health protocols set forth by the IATF. The researcher prepared a 20-item spelling test, or it is the pre-test, which was derived or transcribed from examword.com 2020. It was administered to both groups, meaning the Group A and Group B, prior to the Group A's exposure to the use of Wordscapes. So the pre-test questionnaires were sent to the student respondents along with their activity sheets, which were distributed on a weekly basis. The researcher created a group chat, a separate group chat for the purpose of the conduct of the study. So through that group chat, it was emphasized to the student respondents that they should answer the questionnaires honestly as possible in order to preserve or to promote the reliability and validity of the research results. Also, it was emphasized to them that their grades or their scores in the test will not affect their grades. So they do not have to copy from their classmates or to ask questions from their parents or to research the possible answers on the internet. Wordscapes was introduced to the students under Group A, or the experimental group. So the members of the students in this group were let to play Wordscapes for a period of 1 month and after answering all their modules and activity sheets. Also, they were encouraged to play Wordscapes honestly and not to let somebody else play for them. After 1 month, the post-test was administered to both groups. The results were tallied, analyzed, and reported in relation to their research objectives. In order to determine the mean percentage scores of the students in both groups before and after the intervention, means were computed. Also, to find out if there is a significant difference between the pre-test and post-test scores of the respondents in both groups, t-test was utilized. In order to ascertain if there is a significant difference between the scores of Group A and Group B, after the intervention was introduced, t-test was used. The data were tallied and presented in tables. For the results of the study, we have here Table 1, students' mean scores before and after the intervention. So we can see on the table that Group A, or the experimental group, has lower pre-test scores compared to the control group or Group B with 11.29%. However, in the post-test or after Group A's exposure to the playing of Wordscapes, the scores of Group A, students under Group A, rose to as high as 16.48, while those who are under Group B or the control group rose only from 11.29 to 13.29%. So here we can see that the students under Group A really excelled after exposure to the use of Wordscape. Table 2, we have here Table 2, t-test results of the significant difference of means between the pre-test and post-test scores. So we can see that both the experimental group and the control group has a highly significant level of difference between the pre-test and post-test scores. Based on the data shown in the previous table, we can see that both the experimental group and the control group raised a highly significant level of difference between the pre-test and the post-test. However, as we can see in this table, Table 3, we can see that the students in the experimental group really have a high mean score of 16.48 compared to 13.29 only for the control group. So the level of significance is highly significant, meaning there is a highly significant difference between the two groups. While conducting this research, I learned that playing Wordscapes can improve the students' critical thinking skills and most importantly, their speaking skills. I also realized that every research endeavor should be done carefully because failure to follow the procedures or the methodology may have significant effect on the validity and reliability of the research results. For the conclusion, the mean score of the students in Group B or control group is relatively higher than that of the students in Group A or the experimental group. Based thereon, we can conclude that after the exposure of the students under Group A or the experimental group to the playing of word games, their mean scores rose higher significantly than those of the Group B. Looking into the significant difference of the mean of the two groups, we can conclude that playing word games can be a useful strategy in improving the students' spelling skill. The researcher is recommending for the conduct of a similar study in order to test the validity and reliability of the results in other schools within the district or division level, and recommend the use of this strategy in other schools within the division which have the same problem with our school. And we have here the work cited or the pieces of literature which were used in this study. So we have here the different sources. That's all, and thank you.